Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome on in. It is round 10 of Season 7 in Division 1 of the Silly Season Racing League Formula 1 Championship. I am your commentator, broadcaster, and whatever you like to call me, apart from a driver, Dave, or even Wingus. We have a lot to go through, and there is a lot at stake for tonight, and it could be another pivotal turning point in the championship. We've had 9 out of our 12 rounds, with 10, 11, and 12 to come tonight, next week, and the week after. Of course, Division 2 follows every day after Division 1 as well, and that also has a championship, but that is a different story for a different day. For tonight, Andy Andre is 36 points away from the championship with 3 races to go, 81 points on the line. Anything is possible, but Rush the Series said, if I stay on the podium, I can win this. Herman as well, with a lot of work to do, 17 points. He's not totally out of it, but has been on a poor run of form for the past 3 races and is hoping to get himself back in the driving seat tonight. Bavish as well. We didn't talk about this much last week, but a 63-second penalty still hangs over him after his incident in Vegas those 2 weeks ago. Remember, still didn't fail to serve that, as he had a DNF by going into the pits, which counted as a rage quit. It was under his own doing, so the penalty withholds, but he has no qualifying ban tonight. Hopefully, for his own sake, he could try and keep himself in some sort of fight, but he needs to keep himself within a 54-point reach going into next week in order to even have any hope at all. And going through the rest of it, obviously Moksha might be chasing him down. He's been on a good run of form here and there, but in Division 1, he's been a bit so-and-so. He even said earlier today that the top 10 just seems so far away. Andrew is there as well, with Danger David now full-time. Hey, yo, the return of the Mac, if I say so myself. Energetic, Verstappen, and Wouter rounding out the rest of your top 10. I didn't realize he was a full-time driver. He's not actually down in my notes, so that technically shuffles a few things about for me. But anyway, moves around to Bard's fellow son Quincy, Brooks, Gino, Kovachka, Kwan, and Craig Jorg round out the rest of your full-time drivers, with your reserves being Salvi, Snake, Vincenzo, Trugster, Flip, and ADS. In your constructors' standings, we have Alpine only leading by 4 points there to Ferrari. Ferrari have really brought down that gap, but also look at Williams. They are oh so close as well. 19 points only separating them, and Mercedes could even try and get in there. Maybe even Aston, maybe even the McLarens, maybe even the Red Bulls. We'll soon see, but with the points on offer left, I think Kick-Sauber, Haas, and the Racing Bulls are a bit of an outside chance. But if there was any kind of upset to happen and those teams took advantage of it, they could find themselves in it going into the final few races. But let's see what happened here. Last time in a few moments' time, because we are about to get underway for qualifying, and we are about to see an 18-minute session followed by a half-distance Grand Prix. So for those that are uninitiated, we do half-distance races here, and that is going to be 29 laps, as the actual Abu Dhabi Grand Prix is a 58-lap affair. Last time a Silly Season Racing League was here in Abu Dhabi, it was a Season 4 race, which was before the division split. So you'll probably see this stats again tomorrow night. So winner of that race was Danger David, and second was Andy Andre, and fellow son was third. Then it was Moksha for fourth, Energetic for fifth, with driver of the day going to Danger David, but the fastest lap went to Mr. Wouter on that day, and who currently holds the lap record with the 1:19.8 in the Silly Season universe. 10 seconds away from getting the 18-minute session underway. 81 points to spare. Qualifying is the first step to a good evening here in the Silly Season Racing League, and to any league race in general. And for those that have chosen the Silly Season as your first entrance into league racing, we welcome you in all in the same. The silly rule we had around here for this season, or we have around here, is wet qualifying barring desert tracks. So Abu Dhabi, being one of those, will not fall under that umbrella, for lack of a better word. And so we will have a normal dry qualifying as we are used to. So that means we are spared the wet rule for this week. And of course, once we go to Miami and maybe the mystery circuit the week after, those rain rules will be back in effect. But we'll just need to decide, well, race control will need to decide whether those rounds will be run on inters or on the full wet tyres. But qualifying is underway. One of the kick Saubers has left the pit lane already. You saw a Ferrari in your frame there as Kvachka has retired. I will need to look into why that is. Few people in the chat already. Geth Pyro unit is on a 3-stream streak here. I'm not in here working remotely, but I need to keep my streak. Have a great stream, says Underling. And as we see, Energetic there out on the track. I will just do a quick bit of investigation as to why Kvachka has retired in the pit lane there. He might be serving a qualifying ban for some sort, but I'm not... Oh, wait, yes, he will be. Because of 2 weeks ago, I don't think he was actually here for Qatar. And in actual fact, because he had an incident of sort in Las Vegas or something, I'll dig that out for you. I'll have a look into that because I can't quite remember it off the top of my head. And I will see if I can find out what went on there and why he's serving that ban. But otherwise, we are looking at Energetic first of what is going to be now the 17 drivers behind him to run a qualifying lap. Now, it is very, very important here that you obviously have to acknowledge that there have been so many changes around the circuit. Well, I say so many, but the most dramatic one would be the banked corner of turn 9, which is obviously used to be a chicane there, followed by a tight left-hander, but obviously to improve the racing, they decided to make that a sling of a left-hander. And in fact, I do have a message here. Yeah, so cover for qualifying for no POV provided while involved in an incident in his previous race. And there we go. So that puts that mystery to bed, and that is why Kvachka will not be qualifying tonight. So he will start from the back unless if somebody is disqualified from this session. But now Energetic as well is going through one of the newly added turns on the circuit. This is of course turn 5 here. That used to be also a chicane, and then followed by that exact left-hander, but then they removed the chicane and just decided to make that one corner. And well, of course, that's where an iconic overtake from 4 years ago in the real-life Formula 1 circus happened, and well, certainly left a lot of talking points there on that evening. But in SSRL, no such dramas here. On board with Energetic now as we go through the banking of turn 9. Very quick, very fast, a bit soon to the apex there was the kick Sauber. Now, he was going to go purple in these sectors, but remember, if you've been here and you are a seasoned veteran of the Formula 1 world in the virtual way, you will know that the driver's personal best is only the delta only compares to the driver's personal best, beg your pardon, and so that is the only thing we can compare at the moment. You have to do some mental maths if you want to compare to the overall session best, but the time put down at the first point of asking is a 1:23.8. Rush to Syria, I think, will be next across the line. In fact, no, it isn't. It's going to be his teammate Salvi who is next. He's just going through the final turn now. That's a 1:24.5. Salvi has had a bit of yo-yo form throughout both, well, I say throughout both divisions, but in Division 2, he's certainly been the most promising, but in recent weeks has kind of fallen away. So, work to do there. Bavish, as we already know, served his qualifying ban last week, but obviously after rage quitting in the pits last week in Qatar, he still has that 63-second penalty hanging over him post-race, and unfortunately with all of that, he really needs to keep himself within 54 points to try and even have an attempt at the title in the next coming weeks, but I just don't see that happening. It is very unlikely. He would need basically the whole of the top 4 to have a drama race this week, and we'll see if that occurs. Of course, anything could happen in this league, and I've certainly seen a lot, but of all the things that I have seen, that's not one of them, unfortunately. So I do think Bavish is rather a huge outsider this time around, and especially going into next week. As I said before, 54 points as soon as the round is done. Can he keep himself in contention at the very least, and maybe try and make it a 4-way decider going into the Mystery Grand Prix in 2 weeks' time? But of course, only one way to find out. Mr. Wouter as well, of course, coming into tonight, I think it will be 11th place based on readjustments with the fact that we have Danger David now as a full-time driver. Don't think he's actually with us though, as Bards now takes the time there. It's 1:22.9. again, another driver that's been a bit up and down recently. Great qualifying form, but when it comes to absolutely anything else in the race, unfortunately, he's just not quite there. So it'll be interesting to see if he can get a good race result from this, and I did expect him to be a lot higher up. I mean, as you can see there, already top of the timing boards as Mr. Welter finishes his time at 1:23.7 there, so a good time from him. I mean, he was one of the two caught up in, well, he was one of the four, I would say, caught up in that instant from Las Vegas when Bavish tried to rejoin the racing line, took out Rush the Siri, and of course, this guy we are watching right now. But fellow son, of course, to the line, 1:23.4. So Red Bull 1-2 so far. But again, more promising from Race Chase here in terms of qualifying pace. So he has been on strength to strength in Division 2 himself, and he is now starting to bring that form into Division 1, and maybe an upgrade coming for him very soon. We'll wait and see, but let's take a look at our champion, one of the three champion elects here. We have Andy Andre, 17th place. No time on the board, but it is only because he has only just come out for the first time. He has with just under 7 minutes gone in the session. Well, there is still a long way to go. Of course, he'll be taking advantage of track evolution here, and we'll see what time he can set. But I imagine Bards and fellow son might just have his number there, maybe even Race Chase. But then again, Andy is just that special. I have seen him do things that you would not believe. And he is just, of course, a 5-time world champion going into this season. Still able to make it 6th. There is still time, and trust me, don't count him out. We've just seen one of the Alpines. That is Herman, of course, champion rivals throughout 3 of the 5 seasons he has been champion. Of course, one of them he did... no, sorry, 3 out of the 5 seasons I think we have had. Of course, Herman season 1 champion at the moment. Hasn't been there since, as now he's gone and improved to 6 at 1:23.5. So that brings him closer to the front, but really has been on a poor run of form recently and would really love to get back at the front. What tyre is he on? He's on 3-lap-old soft tyres, so he's taken those intermediate strategies very seriously from the wet qualifying, and is applying them to the dry, but let's see what he can do regardless now. So we're surely going to have to bolt on a fresh set of softs, surely, because qualifying here is so important. But now let's have a look at his teammate Rolly A1881. He goes through the final corner now, and we are going to see him come to the start finish line, and that's the first time from him. That's a 10th place slot for now, but of course still a long way to go in qualifying. Andy Andre is now going to be coming to the line as well. Quincy as well, yet to set a lap, as well as Bruiser. You can see the names on the left hand side. Kovachka serving a qualifying ban is going to start from last, unless if someone is disqualified from the session, but at the moment it has been very fair. We are 45 seconds away from the halfway point, and at the moment you are seeing Andy complete his first flying lap in this qualifying, and here we go through the newly improved turns, oh well, I say newly improved, but newly renovated turns of 12, 13 and 14, and then 15 to turn 16. It is going to get it stopped in time, going to get a nice exit there. This is looking competitive. That's a 1:22.7, and that is the second driver to get into the times there. So as we approach halfway, Andy says, I'm best of the rest. Quincy here, of course, is on a roll in Division 2. He is literally only single-digit points away from Pleasant Snake, when Pleasant Snake had such a dominant lead. But after a nightmare evening in Qatar in Division 2 last week, well, Quincy is just going from strength to strength. Finally does have a win as well in Division 2, but would love to take that form and get some practice in for that race tomorrow. But of course, he's not on pace to really interfere with the championship, and he would just love to get a good result here and at least finish it. And of course, we nearly had a viral moment all the way back in Las Vegas with Quingate, but unfortunately Bavish decided that he didn't think that Quincy did a good enough job, and then took matters into, well, I say took matters into his own hands, not on purpose, of course, but Bavish there in the end taking the headlines away from his teammates. But here we go, Quincy to the line here, and he's up to 6th place as well, and already Herman down 2 positions. So it's looking like it's a bit hit and miss from Herman still. So that form, whatever he is missing, it is still not quite right. But of course, he set that fastest lap, 1:23.5 on 3-lap-old soft tires. He is now bolting a fresh set on now, and he is getting ready to make his way to hit the start-finish line to start another flying lap. We've just seen Quincy come to the line. Andrew has also come to the line. He's gone up into third ahead of his teammate for now. But again, keep an eye out for Race Chase. He's been really, as I said earlier, doing very well. Verstappen as well. Again, he's kind of been a bit like Salvi in Division 2. His form is yo-yoed, depending on what week it is. One time he'll be like the most promising driver. Then the next week, he'll be somewhere like, 13th place, as you see him right now. And he's just started his own flying lap here. Let's stay with the Haas driver, who currently sits 13th, as somebody else has gone to the line there. That was Rowley up into 5th place. So that is, again, Herman down another position. And Rush the Siri, 124.5, down in 16th. That is very odd. I did not expect to see that. That was done on 2-lap old soft tyres, so might have invalidated the first flying lap, and there might still be a representative to come. Bavish also to the line, 123.1 for him, so up into 3rd place. So, at the moment, it's all a bit mixed up at the moment. Bards and Andy currently occupy the top 2 positions, and Bavish there in 3rd, but just to remind you, in case you are just joining us for the first time tonight, Bavish still has a 63-second penalty hanging over him post-race, but because he served his qualifying ban last week, that is no longer a factor. And here we are watching we are watching Verstappen at the moment in the Haas, and he is just trying to get another flying lap in and hoping to find some of the form he has had over the past few weeks. But he's kind of been a bit like a flash in the pan, as I was saying earlier on, as he invalidates the time between turns 13 and 14, and that means he will not really have enough time to really recharge the battery there, and has to go in again and bolt on another set. Goodness me, that was nearly the end of his qualifying altogether, having a major moment on pit entry, but luckily got it all together in the nick of time, and is now going to go back into the pits, bolt on a fresh set of softs, and he will be back underway in a few moments' time. Herman the German has also invalidated a time earlier on in his lap, so he will have to go again, recharge everything, and, well, just try and see if he can get another lap on. But also, this gives him time to really scout the braking points, see how the track has evolved over the session, and just in case for those who aren't initiated, track evolution is where the track begins the weekend with a lot of surface, with a lot of surface dirt, usually because it hasn't been used since, F1 race there. There are a few race series here and there, but that's besides the point. So let's say you're the only let's say F1 is the only motorsport discipline that uses your track. There's a lot of dirt generated, through just natural resources or anything like that. And as you drive over it, the track begins to what we call rubber in, and so it cleans up the surface. Tires begin to rubber in, and there's more friction between the surface and the tire, so there's more grip, and the tires begin to warm up, and then of course you just go faster throughout the evening. But of course it's an accelerated simulation here in the F1 games, not really a setting for it, but it is simulated within the game's code. As we now go down the straight between turns 5 and 6, beg your pardon, and then through 7 through here. And Herman will now get back on the power to go to the second DRS zone round the lap. Of course, only 2 DRS zones. We've just passed one there between turns 5 and 6. And now the next one is between turns 7, 8, and 9. And now it's just really your instincts for the rest of the lap. And with over 4 minutes to go, I think Herman's left himself in a bit of a pressure cooker situation and really needs to excel at these current moments. Sector 3 has been passed. Well, Sector 3 he's currently in right now. Sector 2 is the barrier he passed, and now he needs to come in and potentially do another hot lap, but let's see where he can place himself, and he's going straight into the pits. I think even he knows, with just over 3.5 minutes to go, that he's really be best just pulling in and trying to get a lap later on in the session when the track is at its most evolved. And also, Andy, his championship rival now, surely is right in the mirrors there. Of course, they are separated by 19 points going into tonight. And of course, the two have been championship rivals since Season 2 of SSRL. Energetic on a flyer there, decides to come into the pits with over 3 minutes to go as well. Sir Ibo, honestly, the slowest of the pack here that's kind of, you see the time right now, 1:27.613, over 3 seconds away from Tarkangina, the next competitive car. And there is actually somebody else in the background as well. And this is not what Race Chase would have wanted to see. You don't want to see a slower car in front of you on a flying lap while you're on a flying lap as well. Race Chase there having a bit of a moment into turn 6. through 7. He might have gotten away with that, you know. The turning might have helped him for the line in 7 and he might have lost time on the entry. He didn't gain enough, so he's actually abandoned that lap. So we'll go back to Suribo, who's down a second on fresh soft tyres. My goodness me, that is pace there. He is just not there. I am surprised, because you don't see that often. I just want to say that for free, because usually the time should go down as the session wears on, but for Suribo, that's just not happening, and that means he's not comfortable with the car. There is something with the setup which just isn't feeling quite right. As he goes over the line now, he is 6/10 slower from a time that he set earlier on in the session. Now, maybe he slowed it down for a mistake he had, and he's just trying to gather it all up now. But either way, for Suribo, he can't be enjoying this right now, and being over 3 seconds to the next guy in front of you. And there you go. Now he's got to move for lap traffic as well. But let's go back to your current pole sitter, who is just behind 2 Red Bulls. Bards is currently going to be the first to complete his time, but he won't get another chance. Or, well, he could if he got to the start-finish line in the next few moments, but it's going to be rather tight. In fact, I'm just going to go out on the limb and say he's not going to make it. And in fact, yes, that confirms it. 1:22, the fastest. And then, we've had some yellow flags there at turns 6 and 7 as Bard's unable to improve. And DeAndre has left this a little late, but it's still an improvement, a 1:22.6. But there are still drivers going out onto their flies, and that might be taking advantage of how the track has evolved. So you usually want to be the last across the line, and Andy and Bards are one of the first there. So they are definitely vulnerable. This qualifying session isn't over just yet. Trust me on that one. We may have only 50 seconds to go, but you're not going to know who is where until the last car is over the line. It is oh so close. Look at how close 3rd to 10th are. Only 4 tenths between them, and even Race Chase, if he finds another couple of tenths in these 2 sectors that we've been following him on, he could go anywhere. He goes to 5th place for now. Rush the Siri really does need an improvement. He's coming to tonight championship leader. If he really can't find anything, he's going to be in trouble. Look at how he has a rear moment going through into turn number 12, that is. Now through 13 and 14, that is looking incredibly unstable. I think Rush the Siri has got the up a little wrong, but let's see him as he goes through turn 16 now. Understeer, big moment on the exit. It's 14th place for your championship leader. What an awful qualifying from the Ferrari as both Red Bulls go into the pits. Who is next across the line? It won't be Andy Andre for obvious reasons. Is it going to be Rolly? No. Is it going to be Herman? No. Who is next across the line? I'm actually not too sure. Is it Bavish? No. I can't find who that is. I'm sorry. Whoever it was came across the line now. It was Quincy. My apologies. He went to 9th as Rolly goes to 6th. And then another Aston Martin is coming across the line now. That was Andrew. We just saw Race Chase go to 5th. Herman to 3rd as well. Herman goes 3rd. And in all the confusion of qualifying, is Energetic coming to the line? Yes, he is. It's an improvement, but only to 9th place. Verstappen also on a lap, but there's another Ferrari to the line. Salvi to the line. Doesn't beat his teammate. As there's Tarkagino as well. Invalidated on the final corner, so he'll stay 16th. Suribo to the line, but still slowest. And he won't improve at all. Goodness me, what a disappointing qualifying for Rush the Siri. Down in 14th. That's not what he needed. Herman and Andy are in prime position to take points away from our championship leader. This is unbelievable stuff. What are we seeing in SSRL over these past couple of weeks? Because we have seen some of the most page-turning, chapter-beginning races in all of the league's history. And this is going to go down to one of the most exciting championship conclusions as things stand. But Rush the Siri with a qualifying which he did not need, and all of a sudden the page is turned again. By the way, I don't know if I'm getting any stream title up for you. I've just kind of checked my Twitch now. If you're not seeing one, I do apologize, because I do have one in my OBS. If you cannot see one, do let me know. But otherwise, I have tried to fix that now, and there is a title up there. So if that wasn't showing earlier on, I do apologize. But let's go through your official qualifying results from Abu Dhabi. Andy Andre, Bards, Herman round out your top three with 4th and 5th respectively being taken by Bavish and Andrew. 6th to 10th is Race Chase, Rowley, Mr. Walter, Energetic and Fellow Sun. 11th to 15th is Quincy, Moksha, Verstappen, Russasiri and Salvi. 16th to 19th is Tarkangino, Sir Ibo and Bruiser, but Bruiser set no time and of course serving a qualifying ban, so will start at the back, is Kovachka in the McLaren. So, what are we going to witness here tonight? Well, there's only one way to find out. We have 20 laps of racing at the Abu Dhabi circuit, and we will be back very, very soon. I am just about to confirm the time for you now. We will be back underway, which is, of course, decided by the admins. We do have an announcement. As soon as I see it, we will start in 2 minutes' time. Don't go anywhere. 1 minute break coming right up right now. Welcome back. It is SSRL Season 7, Round 10 in Abu Dhabi. We have just seen Rush the Siri have one of his worst qualifying performances. If you really want to know the last time he struggled, you have to go back to Round 5. Qualified 12th place, but still managed a 2nd place finish from all of that. We are about to start the formation lap, so let's get that formation lap music on the run, and we are now going to go through your grid for one last time tonight. It is everybody but one on the mediums, with Andy Andre on pole, but 2nd place is Bart, hoping to finally get a good result in his little race campaign. Herman the German finally has a good qualifying, up there in 3rd. Bavish in 4th, but has a 63-second post-race penalty hanging over him after DNFing on purpose in Qatar, in the pit lane, that is. Andrew is 5th here, with Race Chase still running his good, well, still on a good run of form in 6th. Rowley in 7th. Mr. Walter, one of the two drivers, or one of the many drivers caught up in Bavish's incident, starts in 8th. 9th is Energetic, of course, in a championship run for Division 2, so good practice for him tonight. Fellow Son, no stakes for him in this season. 10th place is where he starts. Quincy, one of the champions-elect in Division 2, starts 11th for Division 1. Moksha, who said the top 10 feels so far away, provides the top 10 with only 2 positions grasped. He starts 12th. Verstappen in 13th with Rush Nasiri, the championship leader. His worst qualifying performance in a long while, starting 14th with Salvi 15th. Arcangino 16th. Sir Ibo, really off the pace in qualifying, starts 17th with Bruiser 18th and Kovachka serving a qualifying ban all the way back in 19th. But Andy now will line up the 18 drivers behind him and he will get ready to get this 29-lap race underway. His championship rivals start behind him. Rush Nasiri, the championship leader, starting all the way in 14th. Only 2 points on the cards for him if that stays as it is. But I promise you, it won't. There will be more action. Maybe not chaos, but either way, it will be exciting. It will be dramatic, and it will be even silly. It's in the name. It's Silly Season Racing League in Abu Dhabi. It's round 10, and it's underway in a few moments' time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. It's going Abu Dhabi, and I think Bards there is trying to cover off any attack there, but he tried to get alongside Andy. Didn't get the best start there, as now there's Herman the German being overtaken by Babish. That won't concern him too much. Babish does have a post-race penalty to serve. He's going to be okay with that. Rush Nasiri already up 2 positions. Verstappen is off the road there with Fellow Son fighting with Quincy. Quincy up into the top 10 already. Moksha has dropped back to 14th. That won't be a good start for him, but there's the Williams of Quincy to the inside and up 3 positions on his start. Fellow Son as well, up into 9th place there, getting past Mr. Router, and there we go. And that's your first few corners completed for the time being. There's the Alpine of Rowley trying to fight with the Aston Martin. No success at all, but a bit late on the brakes there. And there's an overtake from Fellow Son. Router on Fellow Son there, but Fellow Son is able to fight back. And now Salvi and Rush Nasiri and Energetic are going side by side here. These are the first few laps that Rush Nasiri needs. He needs to make up as much as he possibly can in these pressure conditions, and he is doing a very good job of that. 11th place now for the Ferrari, and that is Mr. Arthur going wide there. That might give the window that the Ferrari needs, but it's not good enough. Energetic fights that back through the next few corners, and that is a massive lockup from the kick salver there as Rush Nasiri and the kick salver continue to go side by side. Remember, kick salver is supply the engines for Ferrari supply the engines for Sauber, but of course Sauber will become Audi next year. And wow, after all that fighting, Rush Nasiri is ahead, but hasn't lost any time to the Racing Bulls in front. But Andy Andre, going back to the lead of this race, is already past a second to Bards at the back, and we are looking at a very similar scenario to what we saw back in Qatar. Andy Andre leading the way, and that is not what Rush Nasiri wanted as a start to this race. 2 laps in though, still a long way to go. 28 laps have been, there still need to be done, and one of them has been completed as we see Moksha, who lost positions at the start now, is side by side with Energetic, trying to make his way back through, maybe into the top 10, as, oh goodness me, we see Quincy and Fellow Son go side by side, nearly touching there, and they go through turns 6 and 7. Quincy's still on the inside for turn 7, but doesn't have the traction to get away. But then the DRS zone is not too far away. We open it again not too long after, and let's see who can win out on this fight. Salvi and Kovachka are also having a bit of a battle in the background, and that is swapped for 15th. But either way, Quincy unable to get past the Red Bull on this time of asking. Sir Ibo and Bruiser also having their own little fight for 18th position. Sir Ibo very wide there on turn 9, and he is, well, he's still fighting with the American driver as we speak right now. And the American driver had, well, raced in the Nitro Realistic League last night and, well, had a bit of drama there. But wait, Quincy's got a drama. He's done a Nicholas Latifi at turn number, what is that? Turn 14 there. And he's on the wrong side of the track for it, but either way, not how he would have wanted to have got the evening started. And well, in the very car that caused the controversy back in 2021 with the very team, Quincy nearly caused a Nicholas Latifi then, but he is spared any kind of safety car, and we continue racing. 3 laps have passed. still a long way to go. 27 laps to come, and Herman is just keeping himself at arm's length. And you know what? I was going to say we had a similar situation to last week, but Andy isn't being allowed to get away. Bards is doing well to keep him within that 1 second bubble there, which is, of course, just kind of like, you know, it's like dipping your toe into the pool almost. You're just not quite there within DRS, but you're not too far away either. And Bards does have it here at the second point, and now he's going to start bringing him in as our fellow son makes his way past the Alpine there for 7th place. But that is because Rolly had no DRS to the Aston Martin in front. So the top 6 are now line astern, and you can see the top 6 on your left-hand side. 2 of them are the champions-elect. Well, you could say 3, but of course, Bavish under exceptional circumstances here. And after Quincy's pit stop, he has got on to another set of medium tyres, so he's been forced onto the 2-stop. The medium tyres will not be enough for the 1-stop. He would need to try the hard tyres, and even then, the hards wouldn't really make it to the end. They're good for about 22 to 24 laps, depending on the track you're on. Well, Quincy would need to have stopped again anyway, and the mediums are usually only good for about, depending on the track, again, 13 to 18 laps. But again, that varies, of course, depending on where you're at. But either way, it has been a very, very clean, very good start. We've seen a lot of side-by-side action, but now Herman needs to start getting his brain into gear and starting to make his way up through the field, because Bavish has no DRS, needs to take advantage of this now. Does he wait? Bavish lets him through, very fair and very square, went to the inside there, but I think that was just not to impede on Herman's speed there, as Moksha now making his way into the top 10, passing the championship leader. Rush the Series is having a nightmare of a Grand Prix under the lights of Abu Dhabi. He's just not going anywhere. Championship leader coming into tonight, just to remind you, had a 17-point gap on Herman, had a 36-point gap on Andy Andre, and if this is to finish as it is, well, things are going to change a little bit. So you take those 36 points, as we see Tarkangino get the point here. Of course, we score all the way from 1st to 15th there. So Tarkangino gets 15th. He will now score the point, but back to where Andy Andres is. He's under pressure from Bards, but let's calculate the points as they stand right now. So let's see who has fastest lap here. Let's just make sure of that. Well, in fact, actually, let's consider points before fastest lap, and then we can get round to that later on in the Grand Prix. So it's 26 points for first place, and so Rush the Series is at the moment taking home 11th place. That is and I repeat, a 21-point swing from 36 points to 15 points going into the final 2 rounds. That shows you how much trouble Rush the Series is in. Let's take Herman the German now. 17 points for 3rd, and then, of course, P11, that's 5 points, as we already said. 12-point swing for Herman. 5 points to Rush the Series if things stay as they are right now. And well, things are changing again, and Rush the Series loses another position. Salvi also then gets overtaken. So 1 Ferrari to 1 Kick Sauber. Both Ferraris are overtaken by their own respective teams. Of course, Ferrari supplying the Kick Sauber engines. And at the moment now, Ferrari's struggling to get past them, and they've been overtaken on the same piece of track. Oh, caution here. I think that is for Sir Ibo. And Bruiser indeed is. Tarkangino and Kovachka are having another battle here for the last of the points. And with Salvi as well, the Tifosi fans will be absolutely upset with this performance. Their championship leader not doing well in the SSRL universe tonight. It has certainly been a evening to forget so far for Rush the Series. He goes wide there at turn 15. I just wonder if something's wrong with that setup, as now we see another battle between Bruiser and Rush the... sorry, not Rush the Series. That's Sir Ibo there in the Racing Bulls. Completely different team. Oh no, Bavish has had a moment. Bavish has had a moment. He's in the wall. And not again. And well, Herman the German, well, has no pressure at this moment, but Bavish now, he really, really cannot afford to just rage quit now, because that 63-second penalty, which he needs to serve post-race, will then go into next week, which of course will be in not Abu Dhabi, will be in Miami for. Thank you for the lurk, Lord Kakashi. I hope you're doing well. But here we go. We've got several battles to comment on. Moksha makes his way past Mr. Wouter, which of course was one of the 4 drivers involved in Bavish's little incident all the way back in Las Vegas 2 weeks ago. Bards makes his way past to the lead of the race, but can he stay there? So for Andy Andre's championship, Bards is starting to become a bit of a thorn in his side here, so this is something Andy will need to be careful of. But already we're seeing more battling. 13th place here for Tarkangino, getting past the Ferrari again, and thanks to Babish and Quincy having a moment, Tarkangino is looking to score a few points from this. But the good thing for Rush Siri is that he now gains another position from Babish's misery, so that's at least something to consider for him. But Rush Siri, miserable evening so far, and it's only going to get worse, I would imagine, as the race draws on. Well, you see here an American and a Brit going side by side here. And let's see how this all works out as they go through into what is turn number 12. At the moment, no real incident to speak of. Bruiser certainly taking the most alternative racing line through turns 13 and 14 that I've ever seen. Kovachka is the first driver to get a 3-second penalty for track limit violations. And well, Bruiser and Ibra are in for a bit of a shock because they're going to see what was one of the favourites to be a champion-elect in the pits, and they are going to pass him. There you go. I don't think we were ever going to say that line tonight, but here we are. Bruiser and Sir Ibo passing Babish, who is in the pit lane to repair damage to his front wing. His teammate goes by. An evening to forget for Williams so far on lap 7 out of 29. And so both Williams having problems here in Abu Dhabi, and they are at the back, 18th and 19th here. Just to give you an idea, as we see Energetic round the outside of Mr. Router there. Great driving from the kick salver, and Energetic putting his practice in for Division 2. Nearly losing it at the exit of turn 9 through 10, 11, then 12. He gets himself all together, but now as soon as one kick salver overtakes, the other follows suit. The Ferrari going for a switchback on the exit of 9, and now that all ends as it was. Well, ends with a Ferrari overtaking Kovachka, but these three have been providing entertainment for the guys that have brought tickets in that area of the circuit. And you can even see on the bridge the virtual fans cheering arms up in the air as they enjoy this battle here. And not for many points, by the way, but either way, still enjoyable. And you know what? Rush Siri not getting away from it at all. What has happened to the Ferrari tonight? What is going on with Rush Siri? You have to wonder. But anyway, back to the top 3, because we have 2 of the champions-elect here in 2nd and 3rd, and Herman is slowly bringing down that gap. Of course, it's not going to be helped by the fact that, of course, Andy has got DRS 2 Bards in front, but Bards is doing a good job of holding the 5-time champion off, hoping to make it 6 in a row. And well, with Rush Siri having a miserable evening, surely those odds have just increased. Of course, Rush Siri currently 12th now, so that's a 22-point swing. That goes from a 36-point gap to a 14-point gap. Every point is crucial in these last few rounds, as Energetic now is starting to get a hurry up on. He's just gone past Moksha 8th place, and oh, there's Rolly having a spin on the exit of 9. It'll just be a yellow flag, but he's going to lose positions to the few at the back. And now that is Rolly out of the top 10, and well, Mr. Router, Moksha, and Energetic all benefit from that, as does Verstappen, and Verstappen's now in the top 10 himself. But look at this, Moksha, who said earlier on the Discord, the top 10 feels so far away, as Salvi gets a 3-second penalty for track limit violations there, is now fighting for a genuine place in the top 10. Great work from Moksha. Rush has ring damage, I think, on the front right end plate. No, he doesn't. He doesn't have any damage at all. Oh, wait, yes, goodness me. But then again, Trugster, he's struggled in qualifying. This, to me, feels like his genuine pace. I don't think Rush Siri has set up the car correctly, because he was struggling in qualifying. He qualified 14th, and as a championship leader, you can't afford that. You just can't afford that. Rush Siri, I think, is genuinely struggling with a setup problem in his way. But either way, here's DRS. Andy's going to try and take the lead. 5-time champion in this division. Tries down the inside of the Red Bull, but Bard says, no thank you, and will keep the lead for the time being. Race Chase as well, up into 4th place. And he is now starting to really come to life in these past few weeks. Race Chase here, of course, was unfortunately involved in an incident in last night's Nitro Realistic Racing League division, but now is trying to make amends for what happened last night and get a good result tonight. He is at the moment running in the top 5 and is having a very good run of form at the moment. He is doing himself really proud. By the way, my lady Gina, hello to you. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're enjoying the broadcast so far. Main headline out of tonight, Rush Siri, your championship leader, struggling in qualifying, nowhere near his championship rivals, and is currently struggling to even get into the top 10, and is yet to make his pit stop as well, and has just been overtaken by not only a Kick Sauber, but one of his teammates, caution in Sector 3, for whatever that moment was. But actually, in fact, I don't think that had anything to do with the Ferrari. That was with the Haas of Bruiser, of course, another one involved in the Nitro Realistic Racing League last night, and he's currently on a 7-stream watch streak. Goodness me, thank you for being here for those 7 streams. But here we go, Rush Siri and fellow Sun swapping places again, and now going back down the other DRS straight, which of course is straight after this turn. The detection point is just on the exit of this corner. They've just passed it now, and it is going to be, as we see an Alpine there slowing right down. That is Herman there, who is losing time and is being caught by these two. That's not what he would have wanted, but either way, he will just be hoping to hold on to third until his first pit stop, and I imagine that is not too far away. I think that's going to be another 2 or 3 laps, but can he hold off the charge of the Aston Martin and the Red Bull behind, as there's another yellow flag in Sector 2 as Andrew makes a move on Kovacic and now on Rush Siri, and that is how much he's struggling. Even then, I know Truckster has said he's pointed out front wing damage, and that's good of him to point out there. I'm glad he did, but still, let's just, I will remind you, qualified 14th. This is very unusual from Rush Siri. You have to go all the way back to round 5 to when he last qualified outside the top 10, but still managed to get second place in that race. So something's definitely up with Rush Siri, and that is worrying for his championship chances, as now with this round, if things stay as they are right now, Herman and Andy right in this championship with a click of a finger. Obviously, Bavish was one of the champions elect, but after a major incident in Las Vegas, which of course I think just about everyone, including my mother and my father, and all of my friends saw, of course, serving a 63-second post-race penalty. But of course, after an incident where he lost control of the car at turn 3, he lost his front wing and had to pit for damage. We've just seen Andrew make up another position there, up into 10th place under DRS conditions, and will be doing that again as Moksha and Energetic go fighting for 6th place. Energetic with the over-under there, going through turn 9. Energetic has a bit of a snap on the exit, and now Andrew as well going back to this battle where you don't know where to look at any moment, at any given time, and it is certainly lots of battles happening here. Bavish gets past his teammate, but we all know that's a bit of a fruitless cause there with what's hanging over him post-race. But also for Herman, the pressure's on. He is one of the champions elect and is going to finish behind Andy. Andy came in tonight to Herman anyway, so Herman and Andy are 3rd and 2nd as of right now. 19 points separating them. It will be a bigger gain for Andy as of right now, of course, with how things are finishing, but there's still a long way to go, and many yellow flags as Bavish has had another moment. Right there and then, Rush Siri finally making his pit stop, down to 15th. My word, this is a miserable leading. That's a front wing replacement as well. It's over for Rush Siri in terms of a good result. He needs a safety car desperately in order to be brought back into this one, or else his championship charge will not be looking as safe as it was a few weeks ago. And Andy Andre missing races. By the way, just so this is made clear as well, we'll come back to that in just a second because more battling is happening here in Abu Dhabi. We have got side-by-side action between a Kick Sauber and a McLaren. The McLaren wins out for the time being. Of course, McLaren Constructors champions, including their own driver, Lando Norris, taking the Drivers' Championship in real life on Sunday afternoon in the UK, that is. But at the moment here, struggling to be in the Constructors' fight for this one. Here in the Silly Season Racing League, McLaren currently 6th place with 132 points, but only 46 points away from the leading pair, which are the Alpines. The top 4 all into the pits at the exact same time. It is battle of the pit crews here. Let's see what happens. In fact, just about everybody coming into the pits. Here we go. There's a Red Bull double stacking there. So Bards, of course, had the pick as he was ahead of his teammate Fellow Sun. So Fellow Sun will be heavily held up, and Bards is back out behind Andy. So the Mercedes pit crew got to work. pulled off a miracle, and he is out ahead of, well, the only one who's really challenging him for the race win. There's Tarkagino and Herman coming out behind, but now Rolly and Herman side by side as we go into turn 5, but Rolly stays out of that one and decides to say, you can have that, my guy. I'm not involved in your fight, as here we go now. Surely Herman will get past Tarkagino at this point of asking, but now it's going to be a 3-wide affair down this long straight. There you go. The King Sapper is the only one without DRS. Herman might be a little vulnerable as we go into the next zone. Verstappen lays on the brakes. Oh no! That is Verstappen right into the side of Herman. Rolly and Tarkagino take evasive action, but there is a collision, and there's a Verstappen with a 10-second penalty for a severe collision with fellow son, I think that was. And, well, there we go. He's got to serve that either in his next pit stop or post-race. Race Chase gets by Verstappen as well. And, well, that is unfortunate. He was having a good race up until that point. Fellow son showing his frustration with the Haas driver, but lost it on the brakes going into turn 6. Turn 6, and went side-swiping into Herman. And has he got any floor damage from that? Will he be suffering for the rest of this race? That is not what he wants. And Herman now is starting to worry. And in fact, look at that. To Bards, of course, who he was fighting with, 4 seconds. That is gonna hurt. He's got 2.8 seconds on his teammate already, so he's not going to worry about that. But what is going to worry him is, does he have any floor damage? Might be worth asking in the post-race interviews. But can Andrew keep Andy behind? Well, these two are fellow Romanians, so I highly doubt it, but Andrew doesn't care. He's going all the way to the inside. I thought we were going to have a moment there with Yuki Tsunoda and Lando Norris impersonation, but we didn't get that. And we currently still see we see Andy take the lead of the race, but does Andrew try and fight this back? Let's go on board with the Aston Martin. He's not got the tyres to do it. He will not be able to get Andy into the next turn, and that is all said and done for the time being. But let's cut back to this battle, this enticing battle for 6th place, because Rolly not too far away, but Rolly might be carrying damage from that collision as well. I don't think he will be. He was the one who took the avoiding action. It was more Herman who took the grunt of it, as Energetic makes a move on his teammate there, but I think his teammate is yet to pit. In fact, that is correct. Sorebo has just come into the pits and will be making his mandatory stop. Quincy has also made a second stop that he needed to for his tyres, but it's been a really disappointing evening for him, as also fellow son has had to come into the pits as well, as Rustasiri and Bavish are fighting side by side. We know what happened when these two came together all the way in Las Vegas. It cost Rustasiri points on that evening, and DeAndre took a podium, which brought him back into the championship, and that was a rather crucial turning point in Andy's chase for the 6th title here in SSRL. And now he's been given another opportunity. Andy has had all the luck come his way, and well, it's only going from strength to strength. Bards now with DRS down the first DRS point, and he's got that move done rather academically. And now Bards is just under the 2-second gap to his current race rival. I will say that not championship rival. Bards hasn't quite been consistent enough, but either way, this has been a rather good showing from the Red Bull so far, and he is now 1.7 seconds away from the 5-time champion, hoping to make it 6th. And this race is going to be a very critical turning point if things stay as they are right now. Moksha, they're getting dangerously close to Race Chase there for 5th place as Mr. Welton makes his move. This is the battle we are all focusing on. It's the one for 6th place, and Rolly as well making his way past Bavish. And Rustasiri able to keep that position, but now Rustasiri needs to hope for a safety car to bring the pack, bunch them up together, and try and see if he can make any sort of benefit. He needs the fresher tyres to try and finish this Grand Prix out, and then try and just make as many positions as he can. He's in damage control mode at the moment. I don't know how Abu Dhabi has fallen off so far for him, but either way, it just feels like the Ferrari just wasn't set up correctly. Even Salvi is struggling as well, but he's a Division 2 driver, as Bavish there has a moment going into turn 13. He's very wide there, and the Red Bull says thank you very much. And in fact, Bavish might feel he was pushed wide there, but does he have a puncture of some sort? He's going into the pits, and remember, if he goes into the pits and retires, he will have that 63-second post-race penalty next week. He's not going to, but hang on, let's cut back away because Race Chase is losing positions because he has no DRS to defend from Energetic and Moksha. Moksha both get past, but Race Chase will be right on the comeback, I would imagine. And there's Energetic trying to make his way past Moksha. Moksha will be thinking, how am I in 5th place here? Remember, he said earlier, the top 10 feels so far away. Well, now the top 5 is only 1 position away. But Energetic just got past him, and now he's going to have to fight with the American and the Dutch driver for the rest of this race. Of course, we have a couple of Dutch viewers. We might even have 3 Dutch viewers here, if we're lucky. Of course, there is that Fox guy. There is Gina, and there's Kakashi, all from the Netherlands. And they will be, probably unknowingly cheering on this Kicksauber driver. But of course, if they come back tomorrow, that guy is in that championship for Division 2, and they can cheer him on when we come back for Division 2 tomorrow. And of course, we'll be commentating that with your 4th place driver, Herman the German. At that evening. But anyway, let's keep things on current affairs for the time being. Rush the Siri is 13th at the moment, so Andy Andre taking the win. Who has fastest lap now? Let's start to get a grasp on who is where in terms of lap times. Let's have a look. Fastest lap there. Well, it's Andy Andre taking the additional point there. And it's 27 points for him as Moksha there, bravely round the outside. He gets that move done. Let's just try and get that little menu away as Verstappen gets a 3-second penalty for track limit violations. But now, who's that? That's lap traffic. This will help Moksha, but it's on the wrong side of the track. That will be Sorebo there, but no real impediment to Moksha there as he finds his way past. Keeps 5th for now, but Race Chase is starting to lose touch with these two, so can he just try get a rhythm together, stay with these two, keep within the second, and hopefully take advantage of the tyre life? But they have the same tyre. So can Race Chase maybe look after his tyres better than the two in front of him? Let's wait and see on that one. But either way, Moksha trying to hang on for 5th place. If he could finish in the top 5 after what he said tonight, he would be very, very happy with that. I can tell you that for free. And in fact, he might even get my driver of the day. Who knows? Let's have a look. So currently Kavachka up 9 positions. Well, he's currently one of the ones to be elected for driver of the day. And, Moksha certainly would be a very close 2nd place there. Well, we'll just have to wait and see. There's still about 12 laps to go. There's still much to be decided. And, well, some positions looking like they're all ready and secure. But it takes one little moment to really change the Grand Prix. If someone has a mistake, flings it into the wall, safety car deployed, well, it could go any which way. And Moksha, again, is going to have to think about defending from the Kicksauber as now. As now he will have to defend yet again. The DRS zone is straight after turns 6 and 7. And now the DRS opens again, and now surely Energetic will think about a move, but half a second away as you approach the banker of turn 9. Well, it is not going to be close enough there, but Kavachka has just been overtaken by Rowley as well. That is for 10th place, but of course, Kavachka has a post-race penalty there, as there's a yellow flag for somebody here. What's happened? It doesn't look like anything happened there, but now Fellow Son and Rush the Siri are starting to go fighting, and like I said, you can never count anything out too early, and the yellow flag is for the lap driver of either Bruiser or Verstappen there, so that is why you're seeing the yellow flags for the slow-moving vehicle. And that is Fellow Son up into 12th place. Rush the Siri is going from it's just getting worse the longer he's out there. He really needs to hang on to every point he can and try and stay within the points paying positions. At the moment, he takes home 3 points as it stands. So I was going to do the championship calculations, but before this battle gets underway, let's just do that very quickly. So it's 27 points to Andy, and that's a 24-point swing. So that's 12 points going into the final 2 races, at least in difference. And remember, 54 points in total is available. And then, of course, for Herman, who, well, should be P3 very, very soon, but Andrew's done that stop rather early, and here we go. Energetic trying to go down the inside of turn 6 there. So at the moment, Herman, if he does finish in 4th place, that's 15 points for him, and that would mean from 17 points, that is a 14-point swing. So that goes from 17 points to 3 points here as Energetic and Moksha go side by side into turn 9, but Energetic was a bit deep, but gets it all gathered up, and now Fellow Sun is also making another move here as Rush the Siri, again, as we keep saying, in damage control, as now Moksha had a mistake on the exit of turn 9, loses 6th to Race Chase, and now maybe Race Chase can start maybe making some sort of impression on this battle, but he's now nearly at that 1 second point, which is where you don't want to be if you want to stay with Energetic, has found a way to get it all back. And, well, we'll see if that stays when we get to the first DRS zone. But now, these will start lap 20 out of 29. Of course, the lap counter changes when the leader crosses the line. And at the moment, that leader has been undisputedly Andy Andre yet again. Fastest lap in the race. Pole position in qualifying. And now a 4.2 second lead. He is looking comfortable. 10 laps to go. And Andy will have one of the biggest swings that he's ever seen and have 12 points going into the final 2 rounds if things stay as they are right now. But like I said before, things will change at a moment's notice if you get too comfortable here, and you cannot. You must stay alert, and you must make sure you know what's happening on track at all times. For example, we have the battle for 5th here. If any of these two start fighting far too aggressively, this could go wrong. If the Williams start fighting too aggressively as well, Quincy and Babish are also having a bit of a fight. Caution in Sector 3, but that's for a slow-moving vehicle there. I think they're just allowing lap traffic through as Herman and Andrew go side by side. That's a swap for 3rd place. That is important. That is very important in the championship scheme of things. And now Herman has 8.1 seconds with 9 laps to go at the line. Can he get that gap down as Andrew will now go into the pits? And well, all of a sudden, Moksha's confidence is going to be oh so boosted. This could be one heck of a race for the Aston Martin and the McLaren alike. And here we go. Energetic is now in 4th place. This has been an absolutely amazing race from the Kick Sauber, and surely one to look out for tomorrow. That is for certain. And Quincy here will have all the work to do tonight. Of course, he'll be in the Ferrari in Division 2 tomorrow. And, well, we'll be asking Rush the Siri, hey, what went wrong? I need to avoid what you did. And there we go. So multiple questions from Quincy tonight. Of course, that Williams just hasn't worked out at all for him. And, well, both Williams not scoring points as things stand right now. The 2 slowest drivers are now behind them. One by over 54 seconds. The other over a minute away. The battle for 4th continues on now that Andrew has made his pit stop, and Race Chase is only 2.5 tenths away. He goes to the outside as we approach turn 9, and he gets the move done. Moksha was not able to follow suit, but that's no real surprise there. We cut to the battle for 9th place. Rolly gets the move done, but does he get the car stopped in time for the apex? Yes, he does. But there is Rolly now. He went back. Well, Rolly there still ahead of the Ferrari, but the Ferrari now has DRS. Does the Ferrari decide to fight back despite his 3-second post-race penalty? No, he does not. But there is Fellow Sun as well, very quick in hot pursuit, and maybe also Rush the Siri can gain a point by the time the race is over, if his teammate will allow him to do so. And if I was Salvi, I would think about that championship battle and maybe try and hold up Fellow Sun to try and give Rush the Siri a chance at getting another position as well. But obviously no team orders here in SSRL. You race for, it is every man for himself unless you're communicating in the same VC. As we're on lap 22 out of 29, this battle for 4th will rage on yet again. There's Herman at the front of your, well, at the back of your frame, but now moves to the front as we cut away to a different angle of this enticing battle that we have seen all race. A Race Chase just moves out the way. He knows there is no fight there. No point trying to defend on that extremely long straight. And now there'll be another one with a slight kink in it, but the DRS here will be in effect for Race Chase now rather than Energetic, as the DRS detection point is on the exit of turn number 7, but Race Chase not close enough to have a go. Moksha is just thinking, maybe I should just stay at arm's length. I didn't expect to be top 10. This is rather good stuff, and maybe he just wants to just make sure he can keep Mr. Walter behind and just not get any 3-second track limit penalties. That's how things change if you get one of those. But Energetic and Race Chase are catching Herman at a worrying rate of knots. So maybe that's what they've all seen and are thinking, well, hey, if we don't fight one another through these corners, we can catch Herman, put him under some pressure, and then maybe give Andy a bit of an advantage. I know Andrew will be happy about that, but Andrew's all the way down in 8th place, of course, a fellow Romanian to Andy here. Rush the Series still struggling in 12th place as of right now. This is really hard to watch if you are a Rush the Series fan, or just hoping that Rush the Series tries to take a challenge, because now Andy is right back in this, and he even said, nah, it's too late for me. In previous post-race interviews where he's taken the win, he said that he just doesn't have any chance, as Babish now adds on to his post-race penalty. 66 seconds that will now be, as now we have a caution in Sector 3. Who is that for? It is for the slow-moving vehicle, allowing lapped cars through. Is that Bruiser? It was. So Bruiser has been lapped by the entire field. There's been a moment somewhere, as now Energetic and Race Chase swap positions again. This could be very worrying stuff. Who is that parked up? As Quincy and Babish swap positions again. I wonder if Quincy and Babish are just having a bit of fun, but either way, the danger is cleared and we continue on. But that was very close to being a safety car call, or even a VSC at worst. But at the moment, there just doesn't seem to be anything that's likely to happen. Of course, 6 laps to go. Once we get within 3 laps to go, no safety car will be called out. So that is also worth remembering. And if it is called out, it would only be for a couple of laps, as you do get a safety car before the final lap. So there'll always be a minimum of 2 laps to go before the safety car is called. Well, before the safety car is pulled in, whenever that may be within these final few laps. But now, that is the situation you are looking at within these final 6 laps. And now it's all of a sudden starting to look like Energetic has 4th place safe, but Race Chase still had DRS as they went through the detection point there. Fellow Son into the pits. That's important for Rush the Series there, who's now up into 11th place. And so that's 5 points for him. 22-point swing for Andy means a 14-point gap. And if Herman can hold on to 3rd, which is now starting to look likely with the pace difference not being enough for Energetic, Race Chase and Moksha to catch up, Herman will now, well, obviously gets 17 points. And obviously to Rush the Series 5, that is a 12-point swing. So that is now 5 points going in to Miami next week, and this could be one heck of an exciting affair. This is gonna be one heck of an exciting affair regardless, let's be honest here. And of course, the final round, just to remind you, is a mystery Grand Prix that is not decided up until the final few hours of the race, before the race. And so it's to minimize practice time here. And that could be really the only thing that throws everything up in the air that evening, as Moksha there having a bit of a moment on the exit of turn 1. Gets it all together, but will lose a few tenths. So that actually brings a bit of pressure off of Race Chaser's shoulders, even if it is for just a brief few moments, because now Moksha gets himself back within that DRS range, but will have used a bit of battery in order to catch up to the 2 in front there. But Energetic cannot say that he's safe at the moment, as Tarkangino and Kovachka swap positions due to Kovachka heading for the pit lane. And right now, Energetic still is under pressure as we go through to the second DRS zone. Exit of 7. There is... Who is that, though? Is that Rowley? No, it isn't. That is just Herman. It looks slow, but I promise you that is full racing speed. That's just the trick of the camera as we continue to go through. As we continue to count down the laps, there'll be 4 to go at the line. Andy, Andre, Bart, and maybe not Herman so much. We'll be hoping for a late race safety car. Of course, nobody can really influence it. The only real battles I could see that being influenced by is with Quincy and Babish. This battle that we're watching right here for 4th place. And maybe Salvi and Rowley. But of course, Salvi has a post-race penalty as well. And I think he'd be fighting that a little harder if he didn't have that. But Salvi will be finishing ahead of his teammate. Of course, Salvi, a reserve for Division 1, full-time driver in Division 2, has been on up and down form, but with a top 10 in Division 1, I think that's going to really boost his confidence going into tomorrow. Of course, he'll move from Ferrari into the Haas there as he goes very wide at turn 14 there, and now going into 15 and 16. he will just gather himself right back up. But at the moment, even with his post-race penalty, his teammate is nowhere nearby. 11.5 seconds, and even Tarkin Gino could still ruin his day. Remember, as we keep saying, every point vital in these championship conditions. And, well, in this series, got a bit of pressure in the final 4 laps. I don't know if he's going to hold it, to be honest with you, considering Tarkin Gino is on 5-lap pressure tyres. Fellow Son takes away the fastest lap from Andy Andre there. Fellow Son, being a troll here in Division 1, has decided to say, you know what, Andy, no thank you, and takes away the fastest lap. 1:25.7. I think that was. I will just actually double check that very, very quickly. It indeed was a 1:25.4. It was a 1:25.6 set by Andy Andre, as we have no delta on the timing board at all, as Fellow Son makes his way past Verstappen. That was kind of a given considering the circumstances. But now we are watching this battle because Rush the Siri is under all sorts of pressure. 5-lap pressure tyres and a softer compound to the hard tyre. The medium compound here really will be better at this point, but can Tarkin Gino take advantage of that, considering Rush the Siri this is his 2nd season in any sort of title challenge? Is still not close enough to try and have a go, and with 3 laps to go, I do think Herman has got that 3rd place safe. That gap has not been coming down at the required rate it needed, and so I do think Herman is honestly all safe and sound for the time being. And then as soon as I say that, we have a yellow flag. Of course, nothing to worry about, I don't think. I think it's just Bruiser parking up there to allow the drivers through without impeding them too much. That is rather generous of Bruiser, of course, the American driver. But either way, it still provides a bit of a scare for the drivers. And Bruiser 2 laps down there. But with 3 laps to go now, I don't think we'll see the safety car again. Another slow-moving vehicle as we go through turn 6 and 7. But just lap traffic. Nothing to really worry about there. No sorts of collision here. And Race Chase thought about a move into turn 9, but didn't. But decided to say, now just wait here. I've still got a few more laps to do. But Andy Andre is about to start the penultimate lap. And, well, this could be a very important evening. Andy, a 5-time champion here in SSRL. He is about to take a win, and we'll give you the points because we're at the end of this race, because there is still one very critical component of that to be decided. How many points is Rush the Siri going to get? And there is somebody who could really ruin his day. In fact, there is 2 drivers that can really ruin his day. We saw Fellow Son overtake Verstappen earlier on, and now we are about to see Tarkin Gino and Fellow Son do battle here. This could really be a very critical turning point. Herman the German will be hoping for this, as will Andy Andre, but Herman now has a target. You remember, a few weeks ago, Herman said, I will never count out Andy Andre, and you have just found out why. Because now, Andy will be within touching distance of his 6th title in SSRL once we go into the final 2 rounds. Of course, next week, as I keep saying, we will be off to Miami, home of the Dolphins, at the Hard Rock Stadium. And, well, we will soon be finishing up here in Abu Dhabi, which, of course, played host to the championship finale just a couple of days ago in the real-life Formula 1, as Race Chase up into 4th place. Can Moksha maybe try and go for 5th place? But now Andy starts his final lap. 3.2 miles to victory. The Romanian is surely now setting the stone, saying, I am in this championship. He surely cannot ignore the points that he has gained tonight. As now, Tarkin Gino with a bit of a mistake there, but Fellow Son gets the run that he needs. Fellow Son could really swing this championship one way or the other. To the inside he goes. Turn 9. Will Rush the Siri defend this hard? No, he won't. Rush the Siri loses another position, and now he is looking at a bigger points deficit, and Tarkin Gino isn't gone either. 0.4 of a second. They will start the final lap, as these guys have as well. We're not going to look at Andy just yet, but what a championship this has been, and what a championship it still will be for the final 2 rounds. Tarkin Gino, well, that's energetic, sorry, Force of Habit, DRS, inside for 4th place, gets the move done. What can Moksha do? Energetic looked a bit Looked a bit understeery on the brakes there. That might give a run for Race Chase here as we now go onto the final DRS straight. Who is going to get fourth position? Energetic all the way to the inside, but who's braver on the brakes? It's Energetic, but Race Chase round the outside. Can he get that done? No, Energetic, it's still there. They nearly touch as they go through 10, 11, and then 12. And I think it's not going to be decided. Andy wins the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Race Chase is in fourth. Bards will be second. Bottomman will be a few seconds behind. But let's see who can get fourth place. Who may get fifth place. But who's going to finish sixth? It looks like it's going to be Race Chase in fourth place. What a race from the Aston Martin. Energetic will get fifth in the end. But who is getting 12th? Targagino has just got a 3-second post-race penalty, and that will kind of seal that. So Rush Siri will finish 12th place, whatever happens. But either way, it has been a miserable Grand Prix for the Ferrari. And now that we are looking at the more official race result from all of that, no real penalties to speak of, apart from maybe Verstappen getting a bit of a slap on the wrist after missing his after messing up his braking into turn 6 earlier on in this race. That might go under review, but apart from that, I don't see much of anything else changing, to be honest with you. We're just waiting for Kovacic to get to the line now. Everybody else is finished, but Andy Andre takes 26 points after Quincy got fastest lap there. So this championship goes on, but Andy misses the extra point, but not that that's going to matter in all much. We've had a shocking evening from the championship leader, and now he has brought Herman and Andy right back into this championship. As now we'll see the podium celebrations for our top three. Andy Andre, Bards, and Herman the German. Two old rivals share the podium yet again. What a race that was. Abu Dhabi comes up trumps after a rather dull week in Qatar. That is the race we needed in Division 1 to really spice things up. And now we have a championship going into our final 2 rounds. It's Miami next week, followed by the Mystery Grand Prix, all live right here. We all know your race winner. Fastest lap goes to Quincy. He takes the extra point, but he did not finish in the points, so I don't think he'll even take that. Driver of the day, Energetic, and you know what? Very much deserved. Tarkagino with the most overtakes. Cleanest driver is Moksha. Actually, you know what? I don't know my driver of the day at the moment, but your podium unofficially is Andy Andre, Bards, Herman, with Race Chase getting fourth at the very last moment. Energetic fifth, with Moksha, Mauter, Andrew, Rowley going, and Salvi for going 6th to 10th. Then fellow son, Rush the Siri, Tarkangino, 14th, well, Tarkangino 13th, 14th, 15th, Kovacic, then Quincy, Bavish, Robo, and Bruiser round out your top 19. Good watch streak. 10 stream streak for Anno. 7 stream streak for Milady Gina. And now we move on to podium interviews. But before we do, let's just kind of unpack all of that. Let's unpack all of that. Rush the Siri with a horrible evening going into tonight. A 17-point gap with Herman. A 36-point gap with Andy Andre. And he thought, and then Rush the Siri even said, as long as I keep it on the podium, I'm comfortable. Dude didn't make it into the top 10. He was 12th. And of course, now that the race is all over, that's only 4 points. And that is a 22-point swing for Andy Andre. 14 points. 14 points in the last 2 rounds, where there's 54 points available at maximum. Wow. Okay. And then Herman the German taking P17. Oh, sorry, P17? P3, and with 17 points, and with Rush the Siri finishing 12th, obviously, 4 points for him, 13-point swing, 4 points between him and Rush the Siri going into the last 2 rounds. Let's not wait any longer, because I think we'll have our top, well, we have one of our top 3 here. We need Andy Andre to make his way when he can. Let's see. Can we have Andy and everybody into the pits? Into the comms, please. We've got Herman here as of right now, as prompt as always. There's Andy Andre now. We are just waiting for Bards to make his way here. Let me just see if I can give him a bit of a ping. And let's see. Moksha. Let's see. Moksha and Race Chase having a bit of a discussion, but great race between them. Oh, Bards has got a shoot to work, so never mind. Let's go and interview first and third. Let's start with first place. And DeAndre, another dominant win. Congratulations to you. And look at Rush the Siri, 12th place. That is a 22-point swing, my guy, from 36 points to 14 points. How are you feeling?
Wow, didn't expect this, to be honest. I was sure Rush was gonna bang in some amazing performances in the final races, considering the opportunity he has being so high up in the standings. But I don't know, maybe he just didn't have the time for practice, because from what I saw, he didn't put together a single qualifying laps. Yeah, that couldn't be just a coincidence. Yeah, probably just was busy the last days. But no, from my side, amazing race. To be honest, everything went like clockwork. Congratulations to Bards on the great great pace he showed today. I think he was a bit faster than me in the first stint. I had a tough time keeping up. But as soon as we went through the pits and we got in the hards, I don't know, somehow it just suited me better, and I was able to pull away. Sadly, to see the fastest lap point go away in the final laps. Can't really battle new tires for that. But still, an amazing point swing, as you said yourself, and looking forward to the final two races, despite Miami not being a good track for me, and the mystery one probably even worse, even worse than that, because I don't like surprises.
And yeah, no, of course. So we are now down to a three-man fight. Of course, Bavish scoring no points at all. And of course, serving that what is now, after his track limits penalty. I didn't quite keep track of what it was to the end, but that's 66 points. 66 points, sorry. 66 seconds in post-race penalty. So no points for him means he is out of this championship. So that's one less for you to worry about. But either way, Herman, of course, getting third place as well. He's got his own little swing. If I calculated the points real quick, but it was a 13-point swing for him, so 4 points between him and Rush the Siri. You've really got your work cut out, because now you have your former championship rival right back with you. Can we expect some fireworks going into the final two rounds?
No, I don't think so. We've had mostly clean races in the final season. Whatever fireworks we had past were probably long gone, so not something that I worry about. Uh, my main focus is just keeping the pace high and doing my part, and see what it can bring.
And of course, like you said, Miami, bit of a weak track for you next week. But I really want to focus on the week after, because that's going to be the real business end of this championship. What would be your preferred track?
Didn't have time to think about it. I don't know actually what the format is at this point, whether we will have two tracks that we will choose from, or if it's completely random. So I have no idea at this point. But for sure, there are some strong tracks for me that we didn't have already in the season. So it won't be all bad news. But yeah, I could use the time to practice and prepare my race. So yeah, really not looking to it in that regard.
All right. Andy, you are back in this championship. 14 points going into the final two rounds. 54 points, of course, to still come over the next two rounds. Congratulations on your win. We'll look forward to next week, I am sure.
Thank you. Hope to speak to you next week.
See you then. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Of course, as we already know, Bards has had to shoot to work, so we're not going to be able to interview him, which means we go straight to our third place driver, Herman the German. Congratulations on a podium and a critical one at that. I rushed the series, not even in the top 10, as we've already said. 13-point swing going your way. You began tonight 17 points behind him, but that is now 4 points to rush the series. But, I mean, obviously, Andy Andre will come back around that a bit later, but obviously, podium must feel good after all of that.
It was a really surprising one, honestly. Most of my focus for the week after Qatar, so basically Tuesday to Tuesday, was on iRacing because I just had my second 24-hour race on Saturday, Sunday. So yeah, I didn't have any practice going into this one apart from the career race a week back. So really surprised to see a podium here. I tried to take care of my tires, both stints, and energetic was quite fast in the end, but I managed that. I think I was bit too low on the wings, especially final sector was really troublesome. First didn't look good. Obviously, Andy is quite on a roll, and I think, yeah, out of the two tracks where I would have predicted myself not to be near the podium, I got Mexico and Abu Dhabi, and somehow I'm on there, even winning in Mexico. So everything is kind of upside down, and yeah, Rush telling me in the pre-race lobby that he sometimes doesn't know where to go on this track, and that he didn't even have a league race there, it seems, for a long time, or even any. Was quite surprising. So I was certain there was going to be no hopes left for the championship, maybe mathematically, but by previous performances from both Andy and Rush, I was expecting them to have a duel for the rest of the season. And yeah, I'm just going to take that. On a day like this, you just have to be there sometimes, and that quali lap came out of nowhere. I was like, I don't know, half a second away from that on my only practice run before. So, big surprise today.
And of course, we do have to kind of address the other elephant in the room. You said a few weeks ago, you never count out Andy Andre, and that prophecy has come true. A 14-point deficit to rush the series going into the final 2 weeks. That must be one of your biggest worries going into the final 2 rounds.
Yeah, judging by how sometimes a lot of practice or too much can also hurt you in a way. I'm interested to see how the next 2 weeks pan out. I think I'm not that bad on Miami, although I don't particularly like it to drive. But currently, I think the races I've been doing there were fine, so I could see myself have a top 5 finish in that race. And maybe if that's a race he doesn't win, and I get some help from other guys, then I think I'm a bit more comfortable going to what is going to be the unknown. And yeah, the mystery GP is, judging by what I know of from inside the admin team, and also me having a big part of what the selection was going to look like, not my favorite. So if anything, maybe a second or third in Miami when Andy is winning or is maybe behind me would be great. I don't count out Rush, but with the planning we have, he kind of alluded to him maybe he may be away at the final race. So if anything, it's more Andy against me after today, even though Rush is still leading by 4. So yeah, big swing for him again, and obviously all the wins help him to, yeah, if somehow there's a tiebreak, because I've been not there to fight that performance, and this championship once again is because of consistency. And yeah, that Qatar one should have been more points and would have been in the lead by now. But yeah, the prophecy always comes true. Like, it's scary when Andy has a bad start to the season. And yeah, I don't think, yeah, if you look back at the races we have seen before, season 3, season 4, especially at the end, yeah, you just see history repeat itself. So yeah, looking forward to the last 2. Let's see what the rest of the season brings.
And just one final question: if you could have the choice over the random mystery Grand Prix, what track would you choose?
Well, if I discount anything we've done recently, I would probably go for China. Like, I enjoy that a lot. I'm not too sure how my pace is there, but China's a good shout. also anything that is basically where you can make overtakes, like if there's a bad quali and we have full wet or wet qualifying back for Miami on the random GP. Yeah, I need some ground to cover there basically if anything goes wrong, because yeah, dry quali helped me today, and I don't think I would have been that far up the field if there was wet quali. So yeah, some tracks where I can overtake, and obviously if I'm in a good position before, then yeah, wet races would help, but I don't see that happening. So yeah, I think China's maybe a good shout, and other than that, like, I don't know, Saudi or whatever is also nice, because you can pass people there, and with longer tracks or laps, you always have a bit of a discrepancy between the fields. So yeah, that would probably be my pick.
All right. Herman, congratulations on third place. We'll look forward to an exciting championship conclusion in these next 2 weeks.
Yeah, me too. Thank you for casting.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And with that, we wrap up what has been a very, very, very important round in SSRL's Season 7. Well, we have more of this tomorrow. Energetic and Quincy and Snake will do battle for their championship at the same track, same time, tomorrow night. Do not miss it, because it is bound to be another exciting affair. Just to remind you, of course, we've been through the final few rounds here tonight, but just as a one last reminder, there is your final 2 races. My United States trifecta will be completed next week, followed by a Grand Prix. We don't know where until the day we start, but either way, it should be exciting. We look forward to seeing you hopefully tomorrow, but if we don't see you tomorrow, we'll hopefully see you next week, 7:30 p.m. GMT here on GDave11 Twitch is when they go live. But every Tuesday night after the 2 division races, we will put them on YouTube, and that will continue to be the case in these final 3 weeks. What will happen in SSRL? Does Herman take his second? Does Rush find a way to take his first? Or will we see Andy take his 6th? Find out next week or over these next 2 weeks. Bye for now.